This is a talk on basically the history of what I've done from the beginning to now. So it's basically like a timeline. First one, some of my tanks from when I was younger. Heavily planted. I've always had planted all my fish tanks. Some discus, tetras, a few plex in the bottom left hand side. 200 litre tank. A 260 litre vision at the bottom left. Some small tanks when I was about 15, 16. The one on the right hand side had some guppies and mollies in it. A few corys. Top left, some baby discus. I didn't breed them, I bought them from a shop. Some live plants, 200 litre tank that was in my bedroom. And then I joined Preston District Aquatic Society. And then I've not had any money since. Just buying tanks and sponge filters and that. Monthly meetings there, buying fish, buying tanks, getting ideas, meeting people. And then the fish room started. That was my first 4 little tanks in the spare bedroom, little box room. Just breeding live bears, guppies, mollies, platies, just bits and bobs that I had. And then I got a bit obsessive, being in Preston Club. I went to the second biggest bedroom. Got some more tanks off Steve Chester. Some of the big bobs racking, I think it was. A few big 4 outlet air pumps. And then started on the Corys. And I had like palliatus and some bronze and stuff like that just to start me off. A few little lights on top, just for some of the tanks that I was growing plants in. But I usually just use the main room light. There's a picture of them with the light on there. And people started thinking I was obsessed with fish and buying me fish presents as a zebra pleck, all the sticks that last kept falling off. So that's on the windowsill. Little bottom tank, had some cory fry on it. And the top 2 tanks were shrimps at that time, and I think there was some pistograms in the top left, in that little cave. But so it's been Corydoras from day one pretty much. There were some palliatus that I first bred. About 15, 20 of them. They were the first ones I actually successfully bred. I have some Granti, which was bought as arcuators, but they're not. I just really like them. I've had them since. I've still got them now. This was 2016, 17, so not ages ago, but I've still got them. All of them, still happy. And then I said to the missus, right, I want to build a fish room. I want a really big fish room. I want to share them. I want to spend a few £1,000s on it, get it all done properly, because they're usually spare bedrooms. So she said, yeah, we'll be here for a few months. We was renting a house at the time, so I said we're going to be here for a few years, it's going to be worth my while. So fish room 3 starts, well 2 on this, but the proper fish room started. So that's my brother helping me build it. Me on the left hand side insulating on the bottom, make sure it's all done. Leveling it was the worst because the flags were horrendous. Then my dad, he has his own handyman business, so he was quite handy. So I built in all the racks. Insulation's in, the lights are in. He did the electrics for me as well. It took about 2-3 weeks to get it all from start to finish. Then some of the tanks went in. I wasn't heating the room. I was heating individual tanks. I wasn't that confident with it because it was outside and a lot of heat loss, so I started heating every tank. And then progressively started adding some of the bigger tanks at the back that were going to be grow-out tanks. It was nearly finished. The water was in, I was waiting for it to warm up and there was no fish in there at that point. And that was it when it was near enough finished. Some little breeder tanks at the end, 24-15-10s on the left. I had those remote control LED lights you get from like B&M Bargains, multicolour ones on the remote. Just because they were cheap, but no reason I didn't want them on yellow or flashy blue or anything like that. There's a better picture from the left hand side. pretty much every single tank had Corys in it. I think I had a pair of Anacara and Anomalous in there as well, breeding. I just left them to it, they kind of just did it all themselves. All I did was feed them. But wires were a problem, so the heaters, I had wires everywhere, so it was becoming a bit of a hazard. And then she said, right, we're moving house now, so I was like, oh, thanks for that. I just spent £2,000 on a fish room. Now I'm going to sell it all, and we moved. Well, I moved into my mum's, I put all my fish in the big display tank I saw earlier, sold a lot of them, I kept some of the nicer ones. And then this is the house we moved into. Pretty much the only reason I bought the house. Downstairs spare bedroom. 10 foot by 9, Dave? 13 by 9. Lovely nice stripy wallpaper, which I really like. These are all my tanks from the old room that you can see, all just stacked up, polystyrene in between them so they don't get scratched. And then all my junk on the right hand side, top tubs and nets and stuff like that. Some Corydoras badges you can see on right from me unfold more than likely. And then I stripped it all out, put it into my front room, and then started insulation. 2 inches of polystyrene on the floor, walls, not the floor, the walls and the ceiling. There was also an attic above that, and we've insulated it out with like rock wool to about this kind of height. So it's really, really well insulated. The windows also got insulation in like that wide to the end of the windowsill. That took quite a while. There's a guy who works in Blackpool in a hot tub company, and their hot tubs come in shipping containers with 8x4 sheets of poly, and they paid someone to get rid of it. So they saved it me, and I drove up there in a van I hired from B&Q and picked up about 70 sheets for free, well, apart from the price of the van. So I got all the insulation for free. And then I got the foil bubble wrap from Wicks, 2 layers of that all the way around. It's like a space centre. Windows all done. It's got a house radiator in the window, which is brilliant, so it's on when the house heating's on. And then the racking went in. It's just breeze block and planks of 6x2. I eventually changed the top rack to 3x2 that way up because it was bowing when I filled up the water. But all these hodgepodge tanks on the left were just, when I was started working at Maidenhead Aquatics, they knew I was building a fish room, and every customer was like, oh, I've got spare tanks, I've got loads of spare tanks at home, I've got some in the loft I've not used for years, and they've given me tanks. And I literally had customers walking into the shop with a trolley full of fish tanks to give me, which was very nice, so it got me started. There's a couple of brand new ones there I got through work. Most of them were hand-me-downs and people donating them. This was going to be my fry rack on the top shelf, it was warmer so the growth rate would be a little bit quicker, easier for maintenance because there's a lot of room above it. So the airlines are there, that's a plastic drawer set. I was going to use it for bits and bobs and I thought I'd use these as tanks, fry tanks. So that's how I started, raising my fry, basically, keeping them all separate. And then it changed a little bit more, got some new tanks. I got rid of the rack on the left hand side, just to make more space because it was getting a little bit tight. And I was buying some new tanks. So every time I breed some fish, sell the fish, I'll buy more tanks, buy some lights, buy some more sound and just keep progressing. The good thing about the breeze block is I can take it down, build it in an hour. Just a change it, if I get taller tanks I can just put it a little bit higher. See the radiator in the corner, so I started space heating this room because it was well insulated. The heater was on for quite a while at the beginning. Once the temperature got up and I was worried about the electric bill, but it's fine. It's been 2 years now, so I'm not been shouted at yet. So yeah, more new tanks. So I'm getting a bit more, what's the word, uniformity. So it's all, I have a bit of OCD, I want it to be neat, tidy, everything the same. So every time I sell the fish and breeding groups or whatever, I just buy more tanks. I've got all the lights are on now. They're all linkable LEDs. You can link 12 in a row. They're all on a timer, three different systems. So one comes on after the other, and then so on and so on. As you can see, they're on polystyrene. It's a bit scruffy. There's like the edges weren't straight. Some of them are a bit taller, some of them are a bit lower. It was annoying me. So Joakim from Sweden came up with this brilliant idea: camping mats. So we put camping mats underneath every tank. What a job that was. That took weeks. Taking every tank off, draining it all, putting it all back. Yeah, it took a few days that. And that's the mess we made whilst doing a couple of racks. We also, in these pictures where you can see the back of the tanks have gone black. Bin bags, we've got bin bags from Asda. Cheap backgrounds, just stuck them on sellotape. That works quite well. And then I put a weed controlled fabric in between the tanks to stop the lights glowing in your face. It was getting a bit too bright in there, it didn't look great. So I did that to calm the light down a bit. Dehumidifying the floor. It doesn't really, it fills up like once a week, just take the excess moisture out of the room, but I don't suffer from any condensation or anything like that, so it's not bad. This is what I use to heat the room. I use an Inkbird. The radiator's on full blast and then this controls it, turns it on and off. And then I've got 2 fans circling the air all the way around the fish room. They're on like the low setting all the time. And I saved up a little bit more money. I went to H&F. Got rid of not all the sponge filters. I keep some just mature for emergencies if I need to move something in the tub. I've got the sponge filters mature. Not cheap, but it's well worth it. Just an example of it. As soon as I put it in the fish, we're going a lot more action, a lot more activity to light the flow. And it's got a huge surface area. You don't have to clean them as much, low maintenance. I've got a tap just above each one. I can turn them up, turn them down, depending on how much current they want. So my air pump's a lot bigger than I needed, so I'm bleeding quite a bit of air off just going into the room. CW45s. I keep some of my fish like species only tanks, and then a couple of the lineage ones I put in with them so it calms them down a bit so they don't attack each other too much. That's the same one. There we go. So why did I choose Corydoras? Why not? Loads to choose from. Great looking fish. Cichlids, not my thing. They just eat their own eggs when they lay them. Pointless. That's my CW45 female. That's what picture Daniel took last time he was here. Another little video of some of my fish. Corydoras 006 on the rock. Some grand tie there. They're the ones from the first slide that you saw. I've had them like 5 years. They're quite mature, quite fat and chunky. They're actually in a 5-foot tank now. I'm just putting them in there. I'm just keeping them just for enjoyment. I really like them. There's some CW121s I've got a feed for in Croydon at about 4:30 in the morning when I was drunk. At Curry Fest 3. Yeah, I'll have them, yeah. What are they? Curries, it's fine, I'll just, yeah, any curries. Maxwell rolled eye. Some more of them, CW51, Copernamensis, Sinatarai, and Takano. Takano were quite small there, that's when I first bought them, that was about a year ago. They've chunked up a little bit now. I put them in my display tank in my front room for a year and they've got really chunky. Moved them back into my fish room about a week ago and I spawned like 70 odd eggs. So it worked. I'm just waiting for them to hatch now. I've got about 20 or 30 that are looking like they're going to hatch. So hopefully when I go home at the weekend they'll be done. Some pictures, more pictures Daniel took. Pastanensis in the top right, that was from work. Came into Maidenhead and he took some pictures in a photo tank. Parallelis top left, Concolor bottom left, C102 bottom right. There's just some pictures that he took that I really liked, so I thought I'd add them into the slideshow. Some more there, C53 bottom left, Cephalus top left, CW80 that I got for Ian top right. That was in work, I just put him in work for the day because he came quite early, I didn't leave him in the bag all day, so I put him in the tank before I took him home. I'm sure it's called, no, it's Millis or Corydoras. Can't remember, I think it's Corydoras. It's one of my pictures, one of my favourite ones, because they're all facing the same way. CW006. I think there's about 15, 16 in there. That tank, it looks stretched on that photo, but it is actually 3'4". It looks smaller than it is. It's because it's a big screen, it makes it look smaller. Weirdly, it looks bigger on here. They're on a dry season, that's where the heat is in. When I do a dry season, I put a heater in for at least a month, up to about 30 degrees. And then the sponge filters come out, the hydro filter comes out, and I just leave them to it. But no luck as of yet. 5 foot tank I mentioned before, at the top left, that's where the Grand Tie are, in with my CW45s. On the bottom left is the other side of the room, another 5 footer. And then the right hand side picture is the back of my fish room where my sink is. The spawning map idea came from Lee Fernley. When I went to his fish room, he sticks them all to the glass. It was a brilliant idea, so they're there at the front, so you can see them spawning. The Christmas decoration, you know, for the window, he sticks like Santa's up. The B&M bargains are selling for like 50p in January for like 10, so bought a few packets of them. Spawning methods I'd try and use. Obviously water change, HMA water with no buffer. The water's very low where I live, KH is like 1 out of the tap, so it can crash quite quickly. So I test the KH and GH quite often. Increase and decrease the temperature. I use the Colombo buffer, which is on the arrow, I don't know if you can see it that clear. Increase the flow movement, like I mentioned before, reduce the temperature. And use pre-spawned in water. Well, it's never worked for me, but I've heard it has worked for other people. Corydoras in a T position. It took me 45 minutes to wait for this. It was worth it. I was like a kid at Christmas morning when I saw this. These tanks were quite a while, as you see the polystyrene underneath, and not very, it doesn't look good. The tank looks rubbish, to be honest, but they didn't mind. And then it drops into the fins, and then she just sits there for about a minute, catches a ref and then swims off. Carrying 2 or 3 eggs in that. But yeah, it took me a while to get this video. But they were doing it for about half an hour after I was stood there for ages waiting. They were getting a bit camera shy. The 2 males are definitely wanting it. Right, that's that one. And then that's when she was laying her eggs. I just paused the video because I was just there for like half an hour, so I just cropped it so when she's laying her egg, because I think the video was like 20 minutes. So these are the same eggs that she was carrying in the previous video. So it just took a long time for her to find a suitable spot. And funnily, the tank next door to that was the CW45s, and they were spawning on the exact same day. I don't know if that's got any link to it, if they were copying them. Right at the beginning, see the female, it's a bit blurry because Facebook nicked my video, so I had to play it on Dave's phone and record it off his phone. I couldn't get it off Facebook. So I literally just walked into my fish room after having my tea and just called out and got the phone out as fast as I could. And just got that last clip of her laying the eggs in the bottom right hand side of the tank. She's the one you saw in the big picture before. There's some eggs at the top left next to the filter, if you can see that. So when they got those 2 species spawning at exactly the same time, I was, oh, Beth, come have a look, come over, oh, it's bloody fish, I'm not bothered. Yeah, but look at that. She thought I was crazy. Dave was shopping in at Tesco, so I was like, Dave, they're spawning, I've gone on, they're spawning. So, all right, well done. Corydoras laying their eggs in a smiley face pattern, which I thought was quite amusing. They must be happy. Some Corydoras eggs from CW21, and these are the CW45 eggs that were on the Anubias leaf. I was really trying my best with these eggs. They didn't last long. They hatched, got to about 5 or 6 days and I lost them. But they've never spawned since, so I didn't have another chance at trying. The CW51s, they hatched, and they've spawned 3 full times since. But again, I couldn't get the fry past 2 weeks. They were really sensitive. It must be a bacteria problem or something, because I tried them in bare bottom tanks, I tried them in sand with a little layer of sand, I tried them in full leaflet, I've tried them in black water. I can't get them past 2 weeks, but I've only had 3 attempts. That's a fry rack on the right hand side, which I started. All my bits and bobs, just for all my junk to go on. That was an old picture, as you can tell, before the black mats went up. Some of the Corydoras fry, so that's in the top picture. The one at the front, that's the CW51. And then the others are CW45s, a bit bigger. Bottom left is CW45, just below that leaf. And then above it, God knows. Bottom right, CW51, really young, about 2 days old. First foods, microworm, waterworm, brine shrimp eggs, crushed up flakes, and then onto grindle worm, white worm. And then as soon as you get to white worm and stuff, and they start adding in pallets and chopped up tubey, that I get quite, every week. So they get a lot of live food. All my fry get live food and my adults. That's my food shelf, which is now all in a cupboard. That's a fry rack as it is now. Then they go into the grow out tanks. There they'll grow out and they'll swap them with other people. Take a lot of them to Scotland, to Harry Shields and Jack. Gave some to Alan James last time he was down. And I give them, if it's like a rarer species, I give them someone I know personally, so I know that if I need them back or I want them back, I know someone's got them. Someone's going to carry on breeding them. Some of my spawns to date, since March 18, that's when my fish room was officially like water in, dump tanks are in. So there's some of my spawns. And pictures of Corydoras on the bottom right, and some Corydoras plus Corydoras on the bit hazy, you might be able to see them at the front. And a CW21 at the top. The best thing I do is travel. Go to all the conventions, fish clubs, auctions, go try and get us around the world as much as possible. Been over to Denmark with CSG when they did the Blue Planet Aquarium tour. So I went through Sweden as well, and Denmark. Planned a trip to Eric and Regina's in April in Pennsylvania. I went to Canada to see Hans Evers and Gary Lang do a talk on rainbow fish, but with the coronavirus it might not happen. So that's a big shame. That's our tour in Denmark. I was over for the Blue Planet. One of the shops in Denmark. Every tank has a 3D background. I thought it was amazing. It's a beautiful shop. They have a lot of Tanzanians over there because the water's really hard. So there's a hell of a lot of Tanzanians over there. But that shop was really good. That's one of the best ones we went in. And then there's a few shops in Sweden. I was with Kevin and Joachim. They were driving us around all day to all different shops. That's Harry Shields. I went to his fish room. And the picture on the right hand side was Joachim's fish room when I was in Sweden. But yeah, definitely try to get to everyone's fish room and have a look. You always see something you think, oh yeah, that's a good idea, I should have done that. You know to have done it, but you just don't do it. And then you see it and you go, oh yeah, it's a really good idea. Just enjoy what you're doing, make lifelong friends. You get connections all over the world, advice from everyone, everyone's friendly. No one's keeping all the information to themselves, everyone's willing to share. Some more pictures there. This is our wall of shame at work. So if you ever go to Maiden Aquatics, have your picture taken, you go on the wall of shame. It's nice for customers to come in and go, wow, he's from Indonesia, wow, he's from Denmark, he's from Brazil. They can't comprehend it, that this fish market exists. They think we're a bit weird. I'm pretty sure they do. And that's it. That's the end of my talk.